is it? A battle queer? Is that what they're calling themselves now?
That I was overly cruel to a scared trans person
They?
who was only asking for my empathy. That you don't have to
Hey, hold on. The mama is a she, right? Not a they.
understand. You can just believe what we're telling you.
Oh my god! This is Polly's whole thing. She's terrible at making arguments, so it's just, you think I'm wrong? Well, I'm not. Why is no one acknowledging that literally right now, families are being forced to flee their states and homes? I'd be dead in a couple of days. Can you imagine me in the jungle? The only thing worse than a smug dunk is a smug dunk when you're wrong.
The Wikipedia
Oh
for genocide.
no! Embarrassing. Very embarrassing.
You did a oopsie doopsie. Own it, man.
And in
President Sunday is not beating the autism allegations, that's for sure. Oh no, wait. Polly's trans, so...
Sheesh! Wow. I cannot believe what's happening here already. Already we're seeing crap going on. I can't believe. Like, I'm gonna be honest, Chud Logic is just a tabloid at this point, isn't he? Like, literally a tabloid. Is there any value in Chud Logic's content, like, at all? Press 1 if you think there's any value to Chud Logic's content. Press 2 if you think Chud Logic's content is basically worthless.
So you can basically engage and act however you want. Lonerbox, what have you got to say for yourself? So what's Lonerbox's approach to this? Let's have a look.
addressing the allegations.
Allegations.
Demon Mama, President Sunday, and Doe. They don't care about the truth. They just make shit up. The more ridiculous the claim, the better.
True!
From an anonymous Twitter user in the year of our Lord 2022. You guys can feel free to ban Ellen DeGenerate until after the stream if he's being annoying.
So why is Ellen DeGenerate being banned? Chud Logic is like bottom feeders in the Marky Swamp tier. True! Like tabloid. Basically a tabloid. There's a word established for this. It's called a tabloid.
Polly people. First of all, I'm very aware that having this
Look at Ellen trying to get on stream.
Chud Logic called himself a Marxist. No, that can't be. That doesn't sound right. That sounds like a joke.
Lonerbox, wanna have me on and debate me, buddy?
discussion at all is bound to be an optical loss for me. If I'm taking the position that what's happening is awful, but not as awful as genocide, it will inevitably look like what I'm doing is downplaying.
I mean,
This is
yeah.
especially the case when half of the audience has an interpretation of genocide that is radically different from my own, or from any that I've ever observed in law, history, or common parlance. I accept this. What I absolutely do not accept are the
Oh, I didn't say it before, but yeah, Lonerbox, the keen observer of law. You know, I haven't observed it in law. Like, Lonerbox is talking as if he's like some sort of like a scholar of law.
following accusations.
Here we go.
1. That I was overly cruel to a scared trans person who was only asking for my empathy. 2. That I tried to bait her into breaking TOS so that she would lose her Twitch channel. And 3.
I have
That I
not
expressed some
observed it in
sussy
law.
baka opinions about the
Let's
Holocaust.
go!
Here are my issues with the first claim. In case some of you don't know, Polly People is, at least occasionally, a debate streamer.
Yes.
She has
Oh
appeared on
yeah, just so you know, we're not gonna go through the whole 3 hours of Chud Logic content, okay? We're gonna watch like a few minutes and then we're gonna do something else. Like, we're not gonna go through the whole thing again with Chud Logic's strange commentary.
extremely combative debate panels with
Yes.
Christian conservatives,
Yes.
as well as the likes of Alex Stein
Yes.
and Sean Last.
Also, Lonerbox probably isn't going to go over this, okay? But I'll say it.
Why? What were you saying?
Polly is like, you know, what is it? A battle queer? Is that what they're calling themselves now? Is
What?
it battle queer? Is that the term? Basically,
What
what
are you
Polly
talking
does
about?
is she gets on transphobes to dunk on them. Like, that's her whole shtick. You
What?
know, she likes being combative. She likes fighting people. Yeah, she likes to dunk on people and stuff. She's very combative herself. So the idea that she's like some timid trans person desperate is complete nonsense. I've watched her content. I see what she does. And so have you in chat. You've probably seen some of her content. And listen, I don't mind if someone wants to do that. That's your content. Good for you.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant. Like, do I have to point this out again? Oh, and my avatar is not visible. Do I have to point this out like once again? Okay, I will point it out. You can be combative, okay? You can be as combative as any other person, but that doesn't mean you won't be scared of being genocided. Chud Logic has only read one thing by Mark Fisher, and that is exciting the Vampire Castle. And he thinks that he is a pendant Fisher. This has been bothering me so much. Disagreeing with someone on the opposite team is completely different than disagreeing with someone who's supposed to be your ally. True. Like, I'm not sure why people try doing this argument that bully people is combative. Therefore, she cannot be afraid for her own well-being about a genocide. You know? This makes no sense. Like, it doesn't matter if she's combative in debates. Like, even the biggest debater will be afraid of being genocided, I would think. You know? This is such nonsense. Why do people think this is a good argument? Like, Chud Logic means it like that she's combative in debates and aggressive, and therefore she cannot possibly be afraid in any scenario ever. Like, nonsense. Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, I don't know if she's done this herself, but certainly others are trying to make it out like she's just some timid trans person. It's complete bullshit.
I don't think being afraid of a genocide makes you a timid person, personally. I think many non-timid people were pretty freaked out about a genocide. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just super timid at heart or something.
Pregnant. Polly, is it possible for a man to get pregnant?
Yes.
How?
People keep giving this panel as an example.
Is it with his penis will have a baby will come out of his pee hole?
Trans dudes can get pregnant. Trans dudes are dudes, my guy. I know you can't, you don't like that reality, but it is reality because we are who. Are you your brain or are you your dick? Right? You think, does your dick talk to you? I mean, maybe it does, but I get my
Mine
idea
does.
of who I am, and okay, well then that's because you're kind of a freak. But like I know
I am a
because my
freaky
brain
freak.
tells me so. Yeah, I can see that. I can. You
Oh,
got that
got a
vibe.
little
to you.
tongue.
But
You know I'm a freak.
me on the other hand, my brain tells me.
Like, what do debates have to do with a very serious topic of genocide? I have no idea why people conflate it. Polly's position, which has never changed ever, is that survival is the most important thing. That is the best way to find ways to survive. Roman and Hungarian Jewish people did not try it hard enough in World War II. True! If they would have great logic bros like Lonerbox. Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe all Jewish people were just timid, They were just timid people. After all, 50% of the Roma population being killed is just, the Roma people were just being timid, I guess.
Who I am, and so
He's such
Do you
an
still
old
have it?
man.
Do you still have a male penis?
ask your mom.
So I just wanted to illustrate, I could have probably got like 50 million more clips of this, but like Poly People is okay with very combative panels with people who are very, let's
That's
say,
quite good.
out there. Pretty transphobic. Like,
was
we all
good,
know who
I like
Alex
that.
Stein is.
That was
I think
funny.
this shapeshifter person is like a very famous.
The thing is, it's funny, and I don't mind this kind of content where someone who happens to be trans is willing to have these combative conversations.
Yeah, I know you don't mind this sort of content. Like, we know you're a tabloid at this point. Like, people know they are trying to find ways to either make it to US states with trans refugee laws or Mexico or Canada. Exactly. And, like, this is like... I ain't gonna repeat it until I'm blue on the face. It doesn't matter how good you are on a debate or how combative you are. Like, genocide is totally different story.
Like, it's funny. It can be good content, you know. But
Yeah, I know, it's-
like. Well, first of all, when
That's
you're
the
getting-
problem.
I feel like you get to the point where if you're getting on people who aren't really transphobic just to dunk on them, like she was doing it with Will, I think that's a bit out of line and unnecessary. But yeah, it just is like this presentation of her as
What?
some timid trans person, and she was just desperate for some.
Like, this is like not everything's content, Chud Logic. This topic of genocide is not just content. Ridiculous. Like, it can be good content.
It's crazy. Like she likes these kind of combative encounters. That's her bread and butter.
When detransitioner, Sean Last is like, he's like the final boss of internet race realism and great replacement stuff. So probably not the most friendly to trans people either.
The last boss.
When she came into my chat, I was already in the middle of a heated exchange with my community. Her input was not to ask for an empathetic discussion, but to argue the specific case that there is an ongoing genocide in the United States. Throughout this debate, she was not ambiguous about.
Oh yeah, we're gonna.
Well, where are the extra fuel canisters?
She was there for. She made it clear that what she wanted from the conversation was for me to at least
Okay, this is a bit too fast.
Oh, you'd best find those
call it a genocide. But I guess if it's a genocide, that action is insufficient then, is it? What should I do? What more should I do?
You should at least be willing to call it a genocide.
That's at least. If I don't call it a genocide, what? I'm insufficient?
Well, you are not accepting
Chud Logic's making the serious face! Okay? So it's now serious business. Serious face, Logic.
the truth of what's going on.
But going on, sorry. Streamable is really annoying for not moving.
Is he just gonna be silent?
She even went so far as to say that my disagreement over the term genocide was an indication that I don't recognize the threat. Well, pay attention to the threat that she's talking about as well. The problem, but you're saying the problem with me is that I'm not calling it a genocide then. It goes both ways. If the only bar I'm not crossing is calling it a genocide.
At least I covered it. At least I reacted to it in some way. Like, he's just silent.
Just talk like what?
Well, I don't know.
I'm just not using your level of like your tone or what?
To be fair, I don't know much about your position on trans people, right?
Okay.
But I saw your last video, even though I had critiques about it. But you know, I didn't come away with the feeling.
I don't know if Lonerbox is going to make this point. Lonerbox is like extremely progressive on trans issues.
Like, is Chud Logic gonna have any sort of input at all? I'm seriously disappointed in her and I've lost all respect for her as a streamer, but she's still a trans person and a woman and deserves human respect. I hate all of this, so true.
And he's made quite a bit of content in which he kind of like talks about this and heavily criticizes like transphobic rhetoric and transphobic ideas. So it's not as if he's like one of these people who like he talks about it fairly regularly, and he's even gone on panels and stuff that argue for trans rights and for trans healthcare for kids and all this kind of stuff. So you know, it's crazy that these people are like turning on him like this when
Turning on him.
just over a disagreement over something which is extremely contentious. Saying there's a trans genocide is a very contentious take. Of course you're going to get disagreement, but people are acting like, well, you're not accepting my framing of reality is like really bad and like transphobic almost. It's crazy, or literally transphobic.
You didn't recognize the threat that exists to trans people until well, I guess this very moment. And now it, you know, like your sort of over reliance on I'm not so sure, like the need for people to start dying before you're willing to call something or visibly dying in a way that you would recognize, as opposed to just dying invisibly. That's going on right now.
I can tell you very clearly though.
Or an intended genocide.
Yeah, I was thinking of the wrong clip, but yeah, like it's evidence I don't recognize the threat. After I had made my positions on anti-trans legislation clear, she once again said I should at least call out what was happening, and followed up to say that the core transphobe wanted to eliminate trans people just like the Nazis did. So you're kind of getting the impression here is that the debate is about her trying to convince me to use certain language and use the same descriptions that she is. Okay, so
Real trans people don't talk about these ways in the ways that, like, you know, Vosh, for example, does, or the people that talk about, you know, self-defense with fucking arms. That's crazy. Like, that is not going to help us. The thing that will help us is if you add...
Like, it leads to making things into drama for no good reason. Yeah, for content. Exactly.
Call out what is happening, right? Instead of like, you know, saying, well, it's not quite...
We're gonna skip around.
To be a man, they have to be super misogynistic, and Alex is one of those pieces of shit. Sorry, Mom, I can't talk right now. Ready,
Jesus,
yelling or let women yell without calling.
what the fuck? What?
Logic. Let's go. There's things that I'm interested about.
Is that you've got people in your audiences who are very like vulnerable and are very like scared enough, are very scared as it is.
Yesterday, or is he saying that's what happened in the World War II? That's something to look.
Oh, I want to see Chud Logic's opinion on World War II.
You can see there what can be done. It's like a 4 or 5 minute segment after she made her case for the trans genocide ongoing. It's just.
I do want to spend a little bit of time right now talking about what can be done. This is not going to be a part of the formal video because I want the video to be very pinpointed and focused. And
Completely unaware of the impact that legal and political activist groups have had in stopping anti-trans legislation.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I don't know, I feel like this is quite well known. This was 2021 talking about bills restricting gender from
There we go.
in this abandoned fucking air raid shelter of a skull
Jesus Christ!
to genocide because the Wikipedia for genocide.
No!
According to what, like legal definitions or
according to what legal definitions? Guess what, bitch? The legal definition you're using.
I bet Chud Logic knows
Dachau.
anything about this.
I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I apologize.
he just completely ignored the fact that actually in most genocides the victims are
Based.
mostly men because the women are raped. He just ignored it. Like
Jesus
he also
Christ,
said that the
chill out.
concentration camps
What?
in Bosnia that had torture chambers in them were actually refugee camps. When tankies talk about Xinjiang, they'll just say all the information they don't like that proves genocide is Western, or they'll try to discredit one of the people spokesmen for the UN because it's like because he was a Christian or something. Like really?
Lonerbox, you should speak to F-bombs for you.
That's what I'm
Okay.
doing.
To your choice, but I think it'd be good.
Even as I tried to qualify the point that before 1941 the genocide was set in motion, the conditions were laid for it. Or
Yeah, I want to hear the takes on World War II.
Polly and Demon Mama completely ignore this, and Demon Mama decides to accuse me of
There you
downplaying
go.
and genocide denial.
I mean,
Liberals are so lost.
there was already like, well, I guess there wasn't the, there was already
I
laws
don't know why
being
you found
passed
this so
trying to
appalling.
eliminate.
You would say
I mean,
it was set in motion, that the conditions were laid for it. They were.
there was law.
like,
No,
what?
no, but like there was
Because that's
already Jews
downplaying it.
dying.
That's, if this was a conversation only about the Holocaust, all of this would be considered genocide denial. Because it is. Because it's downplaying the very real threat. We only have this
Wait!
in
If you were to say this about the Holocaust, yes, because there's like mass evidence and historical analysis and everything that says it's a Holocaust, it says it's a genocide. The word genocide was
Oh, so historical evidence. So Chud Logic's default is to go to hindsight is 2020. I see. Like an amazing, the best way to prevent a genocide is to go hindsight is 2020. We have a lot of historical evidence that it happened. Okay, amazing. Oh no. Hindsight is 2020. I love it.
created to describe the Holocaust because it was a crime that had never been seen before to that level that we had to come up with a whole new fucking concept to describe it. Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Hindsight, because the Holocaust already happened.
I mean, the real threat of what? Threat of genocide? Fuck. I guess that's probably quite a lot of historians and Holocaust libraries that probably need to get held up for genocide denial, but okay. She agrees with another chatter who says my opinion on when a genocide starts, and apparently also that of every source I posted above, is similar to what the Nazis do with Holocaust denial.
Killjoy 40K says what Lonerbox is doing is similar to what Nazis do with Holocaust denial. I don't think he's doing it deliberately, but he's made a goal.
So we're just plain allowing slurs in chat. Who said a slur? What slur am I missing? By the way, Dr. Octobon, thank you for the sub.
Genocide until after it's already too late. Yeah.
She even says there, nothing's a genocide until it's deemed one, but she changes that into it's already too late. In this debate, I mentioned examples of preventing genocide. This hindsight argument is so weird. Like, does she just
By the
think
way,
that-
can you stop doing this thing
It's
where you
true.
assume I'm allowing slurs in chat? Can you perhaps consider that I didn't see the slur, or if there is a moderator here, they didn't see the slur? What the fuck is that about?
I'm of the persuasion that states should just put their feet up and chill
Scrod,
and
get
stay
the
at brunch
hype
until the
train
genocide
started,
starts. I don't understand it. Like, it's so fucking weird. All right. The point she makes about hindsight is also strange since I mentioned
Wow. I only allow for a definition of genocide that would not allow to prevent anything and would only allow for hindsight. Why do people use that hindsight argument?
at least
Nice one,
twice
Scrods.
that Allied intervention was justified before the invasion of Poland. And I already mentioned that genocidal intent could have been inferred before the Nazis took power. Is she trying to imply that I'm pro-appeasement? She seems pretty excited to learn about the Dachau concentration camp, which opened in 1933.
Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if there was something I had in my back pocket? Anybody want to guess when the first concentration camp for Jewish people, communists, and other dissidents opened? Anybody want to guess? Can we get a guess? 22nd of March, 1933. But guess what? According to Lonerbox, the genocide didn't start until 1941. What a moron!
People died in work camps, just so you know.
Dachau. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I apologize. I've literally never heard that word said out loud, I don't think, or at least I haven't in my... wouldn't?
So again, I know it's difficult to hear, but like genocide and concentration camps for political prisoners, I think Dachau was, they're not the same. It's not the same thing. Like, if you want
Not just political prisoners were, you know, in the work camps, you know?
why again, you can just think about it. Like if you had two criminals in front of you, or two bad guys, it's to say one.
Exactly, Lenitas, you understand it. It is called being a performer. Like, nobody seems to understand. I think it's more dishonesty than anything else. Nobody seems to understand the performative aspect to Demon Mama. Yeah, it's like, it's a line you need to sort of walk, right? You need to be informative. You need to be interesting, but you also need to be entertaining as a streamer, yeah. Even when discussing pretty serious topics, you do need to have some level of performativeness. This is also why Demon Mama makes certain facial expressions. It's all part of like the performance, and it's not a bad thing. This feels like a personal drama stream, just using the genocide conversation as a pretense to attack Loner's detractors. True. Yeah.
Is an overseer from the Japanese internment camps in America, and the other one is like Rudolf Hess, the guy in charge
HAze,
of
by the way.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would convict those two guys of the same crime. Like one would be guilty of
Not HAze, HAze.
And this one has an inscription of an eagle.
genocide. The other would be guilty of like human rights abuses. You know. This is despite me saying earlier in the debate that some kind of intervention was justified as soon as the first camp opened. Once again, Demon Mama.
Is Chud Logic taking the Steven school of reacting to content? Just saying Jesus from time to time.
Isn't interested in this point. This is what I do think she learned about Dachau like in the middle of the stream, because when I say when the first camp opened, that was a point to justify intervention. She looks kind of shocked, like as if to suggest that's too late. I don't know.
All right, let's continue.
After it's over, but that's not what.
See, look, Quartilla, you're doing. Look at just. Let me just point out what you're doing here. So, what people do is they act like you're not arguing with the person that you're arguing with. They act like you're arguing with the people that are being oppressed. Okay? Look, yeah, totally own the Dachau prisoner in the marketplace of ideas on how he's the only victim of persecution and it's not genocide yet. Obviously, if a trans person was in a fucking camp and they were there going, oh, this is really bad, this is like a genocide, I'm not going to be at the fence with my face pressed against it like, actually...
Welcome to Chud Nation.
Thank you very much for the sub.
I wonder what Tom
Actually, this is persecution, not genocide. You're using the word incorrectly. Like, that's not what's happening here, is it? You've got people that are coming onto platforms and openly stating their opinion, and then it's being disagreed with. This is how this all works. This is how this has always worked. Someone says something, another person thinks it's something else. They say and they disagree. Stop, like, emotionally doing this weird emotional manipulation thing where it's like, oh, well, you wouldn't say that if they're in... Well, no, obviously not. There's a different context there, isn't there?
That's not what we need.
That's not what was being said.
Yeah, there was plenty of evidence to say that we're building up to a genocide and the urgency was there. Like, again, I just so you know, from my take on Germany, I think the Allies should... I don't know what she's saying there, but it sounds like she's saying when they built camps as if that's like too late. Intervened when the first camp opened. I don't know if maybe the Allies should have intervened when Germany was still a democracy. The first camp opened before the annexation. So no,
Yeah,
actually,
but
I'm very for intervening as quickly as possible.
Okay,
when that happens.
let's give us the
Yeah,
argument.
there's this thing where it's like someone listens to... Like, whenever I listen to something, okay... I've probably been guilty of this before, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm innocent of this. But, you know, I do my best and I try. When I'm listening to a conversation, if someone, even if I disagree vehemently with everything they're saying, if they say something that's agreeable, or I think it's correct, I'll do my best to point it out and say, oh yeah, I actually agree with what they're saying here. Even if they're like, whatever political view, I think it's important to recognise that, like, you know, you can agree with what someone is saying, even if you disagree with everything else. But Demon Mama's whole shtick, seemingly, is listening to someone's video, not agreeing with them ever, you know, in terms of if you're being combative with them, and then just pointing out where you disagree in you know, at every single turn and opportunity in an extremely obnoxious way is like a dunk. Do you know what I mean? And it's just so cringe. I don't know.
Government. Why the face? What the fuck?
Really? The tabloid person says that? I will say that there are times when talking about crime is important, but the focus on it is absolutely ludicrous. Is this conversation? Of course, genocide should be illegal, but they often aren't. Yeah.
She just does them when she remembers they're too slow, okay? So, no. I don't know why you think just because I'm contesting you on terminology means you think I'm less urgent about stopping the problem. I don't know why. Oh, there's another one. All right. This is the climax of the fucking circus show. She decides to blow me out with possibly the strangest.
Because it's not
of
about
2022.
terminology.
Okay, hold on. I just want to blow him out again one more time.
Do it.
Just so we're clear. The UN Convention on Genocide was not even put into law until December 9th, 1948. Let's just rewind here. I just want you guys to hear how fucking right I am and how fucking right Poly People is on this. Listen to this real quick. Let's just listen to this back. Listen up.
Didn't start until 1941. That seems literally impossible to me.
When, according to what, like legal definitions, or
According to what legal definitions? Guess what, bitch? The legal definition you're using, the Holocaust at the time could not be considered a genocide because the UN fucking assembly on genocide did not happen until December 9th, 1948. What are you talking about?
okay.
What?
Oh my god.
The word genocide was coined to describe the Holocaust.
Okay, I'm here to see some reactions from Chud Logic, but all I'm hearing is, oh my god, Jesus, oh my god.
And the Armenian genocide. Like, you can retroactively call something a genocide. Only on the Wikipedia. The genocide, because the Wikipedia
Oh
for genocide.
no! Embarrassing. Very embarrassing.
Only on the Wikipedia, not only does it mention genocides that happened and are recognized in the 18th and 19th century, and in the Ottomans. See what it says there? I don't know if you can see that. You might have to zoom in. For World War II.
By paired and
Okay.
If you've got like,
Aging with human.
oh yeah, he's on.
it was kind
This is the Nazi. Say, oh, but oh look.
Third time now, right? Stream. The conversation ended with this message from me.
Okay, I think we had enough of Chud Logic. I really think the focus on the law makes no sense when talking about genocide. True! I agree. I really agree. Okay.